Hi, welcome to the Long Beach Museum of Art. I am Sue Ann Robinson, Curator Emerita at the museum, and happy to share a brief look into the museum's permanent collection in our new series, From the Vault. Museums collect, preserve, exhibit, and educate about their collections, but most museums cannot exhibit their entire collection all at the same time. So we are happy to have received a grant from the Institute of Museums and Library Services to catalog and present works by women artists in our permanent collection, online at lbma.org. In consideration of our current IMLS project, we are starting From the Vault with a look at artwork by Genie Shenk. We are now in the museum's lower level beside Ring by Genie Shenk. Shenk began creating Ring in 1990, and she finished it in 1999. It is a remarkable installation of 150 bound books made of tar paper, an industrial building material. It's 20 inches high and 11 feet in diameter. It was last exhibited at the museum in 2009 in an exhibition titled Novel Constructions, Artists Create Monumental Books. Because of its size and the complexity of the installation, it is wonderful to bring it out from the vault once again. Ring is not what one might first think of as an artist book. Take a closer look, and you can see the stitching that binds each book together. The books are sewn from 6,000 sheets of folded industrial tar paper. The folds and the order in which the books are aligned creates the spirals you see. Take your time contemplating Ring. This is a very meditative artwork. In many cultures and spiritual practices, concentric circles and spirals are associated with natural and spiritual growth. But we also think of things like storms and our thoughts and emotions as spiraling out of control. Shenk saw this form of two concentric spirals as a metaphor for sustainable change that moves in a stable structure rather than in an out-of-control spiral. Genie Shenk was born in 1937 in Montgomery, Alabama, and moved with her family throughout the South to Atlanta, Nashville, New Orleans, Forest, Mississippi, and Nacogdoches, Texas. She most enjoyed New Orleans and the art museum there, and her first art classes. She earned her bachelor's, her master's, and her PhD degrees in English from Rice University in Houston, Texas. Once she married, she and her mathematician husband moved again from San Francisco to New York. Finally, they landed in Solana Beach in 1968, where she began actively pursuing the fiber arts. In 1987, in the Master of Fine Arts program at UCLA, she began to shift her focus to book arts and taught an experimental book arts course at San Diego Mesa College. She taught book arts at Mesa College and the Athenaeum School of the Arts in La Jolla for 17 years. And she was a founding member of San Diego Book Arts. Here in the museum's Lane Ocean View Gallery, we have another artist book by Genie Shenk from our permanent collection. Bias was made in 1997 and was created for a traveling exhibition, Women of the Book, Jewish Women, Jewish Themes, organized by Judith Hofberg, a champion of artist books. Hofberg invited Shenk to submit a work even though Shenk felt her ancestry disqualified her. But her experiences growing up in the South of bias suggested many stories to her. She encountered bias in high school in New Orleans. The cover of Bias features a roll of wide bias tape found by Genie in the bottom of her mother's sewing drawer. Becky, the pretty one, Protestant. Commuters uptown. Jenny, the bright one. Sarah, the graceful, like princesses in old miniatures. Paulette, the giggler. Eugenia, midterm off the boat, heavy body, heavy accent, colored socks, brown shoes, lumpy sweater, greasy perm, too much IQ, things not yet in style, the bottom rung. Study hall accident of alphabet, 4 per table, casual friends equals in pairs. Sarah, tiny voice, mortified. Our synagogue is having ecumenical meeting next weekend. Would you be able to come? Becky, homework scatters. What did you say? Jenny's mother, country girl, broad-minded, revenge on middle-class narrowness, learned so painfully, so well. I see nothing wrong with it. A lesser person might. Genie Shenk made a practice of recording her dreams visually and using the imagery in many of her artist books. Shenk, who died in 2018, began the practice of recording her dreams in 1982 and continued for over 30 years. This tiny book, in some ways, encapsulates her reasons for dream work. This is a quotation from an Arab Andalusian Muslim scholar, mystic, poet, philosopher, born in Spain in 1165. The text reads, "Dreams are the way to the isthmus of imagination." This little book shares several things in common with Ring. Both are by Genie Shenk. One is exceptionally large and complex. The other is exceptionally small. Both are made of unusual materials, tar paper and mica. Both are fine examples of exquisite craftsmanship in the folding of papers. And both deal with the idea of structure, spirals and the isthmus, a narrow strip of land or structure in the body that links two larger areas. Both are meditative. For Genie, dreams are an isthmus or a link to the imagination, which she employed in her artwork for decades. Thank you all for visiting us and learning about the extraordinary artwork of Genie Shenk. I'm Sue Ann Robinson. See you next time as we look at art from the vault. Thank you.